Welcome, world. Welcome to an all-new episode of Gold Minds. And what do we do here? I shouldn't have to tell you because you should know. We get inside the minds of amazing individuals. Why? Because you need the information. Why do you need it? Because it's necessary. Why is it necessary? Simply because it's value. I feel like it's my job. I feel like it's my job to put amazing people in front of you so that you can take the tools. You can take the ammunition, put it in your pocket, and fire it off as necessary. Oh, write that down. Put the ammunition in your pocket and fire it off as needed and necessary. How do I do it? How do I do it? I'll tell you how I do it. By simply waking up and feeling good. And when you feel good, you do great things. And today, I feel good because of the person I'm talking to. You know, guys, I think that we've done a really good job of giving you great personnel. And I also think that we've done a very good job of constantly amplifying, right? We progress. It doesn't go backwards. It only goes forward. And today's person is an example of forward direction, forward progression. Let me tell you why. We're talking to a real entrepreneur, a multi-hyphenate. I love to say that because I consider myself to be a multi-hyphenate. So when I get to talk to a multi-hyphenate, I get excited. By multi-hyphenate, well, what am I talking about here? I'm talking about the world of a stand-up comedian. I'm talking about the world of an author. I'm talking about, can I say chef? I mean, kind of. You cook, but I mean, technically.
You know, I ain't been to nobody's chef school.
You don't have to go to chef school.
I don't really like the word chef for me.
What do you like for you?
I be cooking.
I be cooking. There you go. I like it. I like it. Okay. I like it. Well, I'm going to say a media sensation. Okay. I'm going to say an entrepreneur. I'm going to say an actress. A New York Times bestseller, guys. That's big. That's very big because it doesn't just happen. Hard work takes that. Or hard work makes that, by the way. We're talking about a best-selling memoir and cookbook. The cookbook was Cooking from the Spirit. We had an inspiration book, right? A book that was based off of nothing but giving you what you felt people needed. This one was called Feeding the Soul. Feeding the Soul. I like that. We'll get into that. Also, Seen, Loved, and Heard. And you got a new book coming out, guys. Make a note of this, please. It's called I Did a New Thing. Ladies and gentlemen, well, to do a new thing, you got to have a thing. Can't do a new thing without a thing. We're talking to Tabitha Brown today. Tabitha, welcome to Gold Minds.
Well, honey, very good. Thank you.
Oh, man. I guess my first question, there's a lot of soul. There's a lot of feeding. There's a lot of cooking, but a lot of things are dedicated and geared towards the soul. Before we go in depth about your background and about where you've come from, why such a priority? Why focus so much on the soul? Why are you so adamant about feeding one's soul? What is it?
It's freedom, right? For me, I did Feeding the Soul because my soul was not free for a long time. And so when I found that freedom, I wanted to share with everybody else.
What does that mean when you say your soul was not free for a long time?
I was living for a lot of other people before living for myself.
Oh.
And so I was not free,
We just
right?
got a little deep there.
Yeah, well, we
did.
went to the soul.
We went to the soul there. To realize that, is there a catastrophic moment that sat you down and made you pay a little more attention to things that you felt you overlooked? Or was it just kind of looking at your surroundings and the people that you were around and realizing that I'm doing more for and not enough for me? Like, what is it that helps spring that realization?
For me, unfortunately, I got sick, right? So I got very sick, and I was sick for like a year and a half. Okay. And I thought I was going to die, right? And so during that journey of sickness, I got into a very dark place, depression, and I thought God had forgotten about me, right? And I started really checking myself like, oh, I grew up in the South, right? So I grew up going to church, and I always prided myself on being this woman of faith. And during this time, I had kind of lost faith. But I also realized I was only habitually praying, which means I was just praying out of habit, but I won't really believe in it. And also because I thought God won't really, hearing me or seeing me anymore. And my prayer was to God, like I was like, okay, I'm going to try one last time to like reach him and really have a conversation with God. And my prayer was, God, if you heal me, you can have me. And what that meant was I couldn't live my life my way anymore. I had to live it the way God intended me to live it, how he created me to live it. And so I started really every day looking at myself, and I was like, okay, what have I created? who is this Tabitha I created, right? Because I moved to LA from North Carolina trying to, be an actress and pursue fame. And I did everything that I saw or was told to conform and to fit into that box. Mm-hmm. And that was not who God created. That was who I created. And so I had to start taking those layers off. And that's how I had to realize. I was like, oh, wait, I always cover my accent because I was told to. I always wore my hair one way, long and straight because I was told to. I was always a certain size because I was told to. That's not freedom. I would code switch. I would do all the things that made everybody else comfortable. Meanwhile, I was suffocating the true me, which is probably why I was sick, right? And so I just got to a place where I said, okay, I got to start taking these layers off. I'm still taking layers off.
There is nothing more humbling or eye-opening than that hospital bed. That hospital bed puts you in a completely different mindset because you start to look around and realize actually what's really important. You know what I mean? Like you get to your point in taking the layers off, you start to analyze life a little bit differently and how you looked at it once upon a time. You start to question if you were looking at it correctly or
living it correctly.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Right. And what you said, there's so much value in the words that you just used of your freedom, right? Because, operating inside the guidelines of, this is for anybody, I don't know what everyone's guidelines are, but everybody probably has an idea of guidelines that they've created and that they're operating within for whatever reason you feel you have to. But getting to a point where you feel like you're doing what you want to do and living the way you're supposed to live, and you're comfortable enough to look in that mirror every day and love the person that you see, that's a forever, goal.
Yeah, that's true freedom.
That's true. That's true freedom. I can't sit up here and lie to you, Tabitha, and say, I look in that mirror and sometimes hey, man.
Yeah.
You still got to get some shit together.
Right.
There's still some days. But I think that I am, a lot better than where I once was.
Yeah. But even if you can look at yourself and say that means you've been doing some work.
Yeah.
Because some people look at themselves and they don't say nothing.
No. I was one of the people. I was a shoulder shrugger for a minute.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm straight.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Right.
But then, after those damn near life-ending moments, you have no choice but to show a little respect and give credit to the Most High. I mean, I'm not the most religious person in the world. I never have been. But there's moments where you see the light and you have no choice but to humble yourself in that time, which is why I said I can relate. And you freeing yourself and getting to a point where you found this version of you. Sometimes when you change, people around you don't accept the change. Immediately.
Come on and preach then. He ain't religious, but he preaches.
Sometimes your change isn't on par for others. And because of that, your change sometimes forces you to leave some behind.
Got to.
And in that moment or in that time as you're leaving those individuals or whatever it is, those relationships behind, they come with a little heartache, they come with a little turmoil, or I guess you could say just a little stoppage, right? There's a little bit of a drama that can present itself in that. For you and your change, do you feel like it was supported by the right people? Or do you feel like the right people eventually had to learn to get on this train or get left behind with you? What was that transition like?
For me, I had the right people in foundation, right? Which is like my husband, my children, like my family, right? My daddy. But I did have friends who could not accept my freedom.
Okay.
And people that I adored and loved and spent a lot of time and years with who were not ready for this tab because they're not ready for their own freedom. and I couldn't take it personal. Absolutely, it hurt. Absolutely, I did not feel well for a while. Like, dang, God, I gotta let these people go. But when you let go of the old you, a lot of other things get let go with it. And you got to be all right with that, right? If you want, because my prayer was also, God, expand my territory. I want to do the things that you have called me to do. And in expanding it, he also had to make it smaller. Because a lot of times people think expand means huge. Sometimes expand means small. It makes my circle smaller so that I can grow bigger. And I was all right with that. And I'm still all right with it. But he also will send the people that I need. There's a lot of things I don't know. And so my reach I have to have a great network, right? I got to have a great team. So he'll send those people that I need to make sure that, okay, these are all the people that's right. And listen, if it don't feel right, it ain't right. And I also don't have a problem with saying that, like, hey, this don't feel right for me, so we're going to have to part ways. And it's okay. It's no love lost. It's just I'm living on obedience. And obedience is completely different than living because you want to live. It's like, oh, I'm living because I'm really letting God order my steps.
Oh, you're following through with a commitment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the assignment.
Yes. You're not living on obedience just because it's the cool thing to do.
Right.
You made a commitment.
Yeah.
And in that commitment, for your recovery to come and go in full circle and you get back to yourself, well, you feel like you were answered. And okay,
Absolutely.
well, then I'm going to follow through with mine.
Got to do my part.
I got to do my part.
That's right.
I 1,000% agree and understand. It's crazy when you start to let things go, let people go. The opportunities that present themselves sometimes are you're unaware of the magnitude of how big these things will be down the line. It's things that you have to just kind of handle and manage correctly in the beginning because they grow. They blossom into so many things. There's a lot of people that have partaken in the world of social media, and some have done it right, some have done it wrong. You are a pure example of doing it right? And building a fan base, an audience, and turning that fan base and audience into supporters of the business ventures, ideas, endeavors, etc. The things that you want to do. You own this foundation that you have created. Were you aware in your beginning stages of social media that this was something that ultimately you had ownership of, this relationship, this thing that you were navigating in?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I had, honey, not a idea.
Okay.
I'm an actress, right? I moved out here. I knew acting.
Mm-hmm.
I knew SAG. I knew, that's what I knew, right? You know how long it took me getting in the union, honey? That's what Tab knew.
Okay.
And I was always told not to get on social media. As an actor, they were like, they ain't gonna take you serious, you get on there, And so I was like, all right.
Who gives this information? This is the most mind-boggling thing to me when I talk to people and they go, you know what they said?
Yeah.
I'm so curious. Who are they?
The people who still ain't working.
Right? I wish we could put a real name on they. Like when I hear people say, no, you know what they told me.
Right, yeah.
Everybody told me I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Who?
But I will tell you, I did have acting, teachers, casting directors, like going to workshops and, training, they would say that. And I would listen. I'd be like, okay. So I was always very afraid, in the beginning of getting on social media. I remember I even had friends when the Vine came out and they all took off on Vine. And we were all actors together. And I was like, oh, honey, y'all not going to work. Y'all not going to work. And I was broke and they was making money. And I still was like, oh, y'all not going to. I had thought I was better.
Yeah.
And they was on social media. And God was like, oh, I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
I'm going to humble you real quick, right? But when I got on social media, it was only because I was being obedient. Mm-hmm. I kind of fought it, right? But in my journey of my sickness, and after I had the prayer that I told you about, a thing that you should know about me is, from the time I have can remember as a child, I have a gift of seeing, right,
Okay.
and dreaming and hearing things that nobody else can see.
I know two other people like this, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, very good. So you're familiar.
I know two other people like this. Yes.
And so when, as a kid, I could dream things. I wake up and tell my mom and them, like, there's no way for you to know that, right? And it's still to this day. And so about a week or two after, I had given God this information that I would, if he heals me, he could have me. I had this dream and I saw myself on the show. And on this show, the screen was small, but I was completely like who I am, right? My hair was shorter. I had like a little bitty afro.
Okay.
And I remember waking up and I was like, okay, God, reveal that to me, because at this time, I'm still not healed. I'm still not well. I'm not on, auditioning. I'm not really able to act. I'm not doing stand-up because I had tried to do stand-up for a little while, trying to get a TV show. That was my goal. And in prayer, I was like, God, what was this? How was I on a show? And I heard a voice that said, start doing videos. And I was like, oh, no, Lord, easy. I'm not going to do that. I can't do videos. And the voice said again, start doing videos. I was like, why would I do a video? And I'm sitting in my floor, and I heard as clear as I'm talking to you, he said, listen, when you were out trying to get a TV show and you was doing stand-up, because I was going to little clubs and stuff, he was like, you was reaching maybe 15, 30 people a night. You start doing videos, you're going to reach thousands in minutes. And I was like, see, that's where I got you, because I ain't even got thousands of followers. I think I probably had with my friends and family on Facebook, 3,000 followers, right? The voice was so loud. He said, start doing videos. And I was like, what would I even do videos about? And so when I first started doing videos, I was kind of telling the same jokes and stuff I would tell on stage. And I would go live on my Facebook page and talk about being a mom and, being a wife and all that. And maybe about a couple of weeks in, my daughter came home from school and she was like, hey, Mama, we saw this documentary at school. I think you should watch it. And it was What the Health. And I was like, well, it ain't every day, that a kid come home and tell you to watch a documentary. Mm-hmm. And so when we watched this documentary, it was like maybe a light bulb moment when they started talking about not all diseases are hereditary. Sometimes we can eat the same thing that causes the same disease in our family. My mama had died at 51. My daddy is now 72. He's the oldest man to ever live in our family. People die at young ages in my family, and they get sick at young ages. And so the only thing that I could think of was that we ate the same way. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, you know what? Let me try to do this little vegan challenge, right? And so I told my husband, I was like, let's do it for 30 days together. And let me just see if it helps me get better. Because I had a headache in the back of my head for 1 year and 7 months.
Wow.
Every day.
Wow.
So when I did the vegan challenge, in the first 10 days, my headache disappeared. And I was like, okay, Lord, I'm on to something, right? By the 30 days, I had started getting energy again because I had chronic fatigue, chronic pain throughout my body. I was just in bad shape. I was starting to feel like myself again. So I told my husband, I know this is supposed to be a 30-day thing, but tomorrow I'm not going to go back. This is going to be my life. I think I'm going to go vegan. And he was like, that's so good for you. But I'm going to need a piece of chicken, right?
I love that you're going to do this, babe. This is so good
right,
for
that's
you.
so good for you.
It's great
right?
for you.
Which is a very important thing, because you got to go on journeys by yourself sometimes.
You.
Right,
I support you.
Exactly. And even if they don't, sometimes you got to be all right.
Be by yourself.
And so the moment that I said, I'm going to go vegan, it ain't a challenge, this is going to be my life, the same voice that I heard that said, start doing videos, whispered in my ear and said, now tell people what you're eating in your videos.
Wow.
And I was like,
this is how it started.
Lord, I don't know about that.
This is how it happened.
This is how it happened, but I was so afraid. And so even in my earlier videos, I'm still not completely tabbed. I'm still trying to watch how I talk, and I don't know if they'll accept me this way. I had also shaved off all my hair. I did a big chop. So I was like, Lord, I know all my family in North Carolina going to be like, Lord, that girl done got out there to Hollywood. She gone now. She ain't eating no meat. She done shaved off all her hair. She done lost her mind. But I was being obedient. And so I did not have any expectation. I did not understand it. I did not care about numbers. I didn't know anything about growing a fan base. That was not my thought. I was just trying to do what God told me to do. So every day, he said thousands in minutes would watch. It would be 30 people on that live. And I'd be like, Lord, it is my aunt, my cousin, and my friend. What are we doing? Right, exactly.
Call them and tell them this information.
I would even cry some days because I'd be cooking. I'd be like, I don't know why God got me doing these videos. He told me it's going to be thousands of people. It's 46 people. Like, what am I doing, But, it started it all, and it happened organically. I wasn't ever trying to push it.
Yeah.
I was just consistent. Every day at 5 o'clock, I cooked live. And when I found a new vegan option, I would do a little short video, post it on my Facebook, and it automatically shared it to Instagram. That was all I did, but I did it every day. I was on disability for over a year. So my disability had ran out. And then I had like unemployment that ran out. And so I was starting to feel better. And I told my husband, I was like, because I also had a 9-to-5 before, going on disability. I said, I don't want to go back to that job now. I feel like, God is like calling. It has this like thing on me. I was like, I'm going to go drive Uber because we in L.A. Mm-hmm. I'm probably going to pick up a director or a producer, something. They're going to love me. And I'm going to call you from the set. Like, that's how I be thinking. And I'm going to get discovered in my car, right? And so my husband was like, all right, Taylor. I was like, I'm telling him I'm about to get discovered in my car. And so I started driving Uber like that October. And I would still, do my video. I'd make sure I'd be home. Okay, I'd have made enough money to pay this car payment, this phone bill. Like, that's how I measured my rides. And I would still go home every day at 5 o'clock and do my cooking live. And by December 30th of 2017, I had dropped somebody off by Whole Foods one morning and was like, oh, Whole Foods be having vegan options. So I'm going to go ahead and get me a little breakfast. And I went in there and I had never heard of a vegan bacon at that time because I was just a couple months in. And I was like, oh, let me get this sandwich. It was a TLTA, but I said the name wrong, called it a TTLA. And I was like, oh, let me do a video, tell people I found a new vegan option because it was so good. And I was sitting in my car, I did the video, posted it, went back to driving, got home and turned my phone on, and that video had like over 50,000. I was like, who's watching this? Next morning, had over 100-something thousand. I was like, I told my husband, I said, I think I'm going viral. He was like, what that mean? I said, I don't know. He was like, well, you going to make some money? I said, I don't know. And within 4 days, Whole Foods reached out through Facebook and was like, we saw your video. We'd love to work with you. And I've been doing this ever since.
These are the stories that people just need to hear, need to understand, and truly need to hold on to, right? Because the thing that you're preparing for, or the thing that you think that you're preparing for, is going to come when you're least prepared. But it's about your mindset during that time. If you're ready for it, how you take it on, how you handle it, more importantly, how you proceed after. And what I love the most about what you're talking about saying, look, this is just what I was doing, and I love that I was able to do it and do it as myself. I was very happy in doing it. Still curbing myself in small ways, but it was the discovery, just trying to figure it out. And ultimately, people just gravitated towards what they felt was real. It was real information attached to a real, like, halfway piece of understanding to what this world was. Like, I'm new to this vegan space, and in my world of discovery, I'm going to take you guys on a journey with me. As I find it, I'll show you. As I cook said things, I'll cook it for you. Oh my God, I done found this vegan bacon. I didn't even know they had this. Here's where I went. And then what happens is, well, you become an influencer. And the power of the influencer is so underrated. It's so underrated because the businesses gravitate towards the influencer because your words speak volumes for the brand that the brand doesn't know how to say on their own. They can't program what you can do. They can't.
Very true.
They can't.
Yeah.
There's
real, nothing beats realness.
At all.
Yeah, nothing.
But here's the flip,
beat it.
though. Tabitha,
Yeah.
Let me tell you what you did. Let me drop a little gold nugget on you.
Come on with it.
Write that down. Gold nuggets. All the listener knows when I say gold nuggets, something is coming. We need an alert. When I say gold nuggets, like, I don't know what gold.
It should be the little gold coins.
Something should happen, like blue doo doo. Like, don't make it sound like in the toilet, but something like blue doo doo. Like, here it comes, right? The flip that people miss is, as an influencer, your power is elevating these brands. While doing that and understanding that, you grab that information and then you embed that information into the world of your brand. How do you develop your brand so that your brand gains value at the same time that you're bringing value to these? Because if you do that correctly, then you, as an entrepreneur, are going to say, you know what I want to do? And when I say I want to do this thing, not only will I do it, I'm going to let the same people that have been following me forever follow me on my new venture, on my new journey. And they'll get excited about seeing me grow and do. I'm now an example of not just saying things, but completing things.
Yeah.
So my brand is blossomed and flourished, but my brand is homegrown. So your people are following what they know is real, true, but doable.
Very doable.
That's the golden nugget.
Come on.
Doable.
Yeah.
And what the bulk of people are looking for in our world is how. What do I do? How? How do I start? Where do I go? What do I do? The more stories, the more live examples of, you fuel the opportunity for those that are simply like, well, how? And your story of how is so dope because you took that moment and the once upon a time personality that was just cooking just to cook and sharing the stories, well, you turned that into the world of your cookbooks and your reason behind recipe and stories attached to. And then that went to more books. How did you then say, you know what? Hey, I can play in this space and I can do more than just cook. What was it? What sparked that next thought? Give me that one.
Well, it was actually very early on. Like when Whole Foods reached out, I was like, well, I'm not a lady that just cook and do, food reviews. I'm a trained actress. So y'all got some commercials y'all want to
I love that she keep throwing it. Tab want to make sure you understand that.
Listen.
Tab, if she don't say nothing else, let me tell you something. Because look, let me tell you why.
Let me tell you what. I got a mini job.
Okay, first of all,
I got it. Okay?
I was in class.
I done did the studies. Okay, I done been in there.
I done did the homework. Y'all know I left the South. I came out here. I came out here
to do the dream.
Okay,
and then now I got a team, but and I cut up.
Yeah.
But that's what I told them.
Yeah.
Right. And so I did campaigns for them. Right. I did commercials for them, and I was like, kind of what you said, everything that I had been doing organically every day with my fans, with the cooking, they would be listening, right? And so they was like, Tab, we want a seasoning. And so I started trying to develop my own seasoning. I was like, would y'all really buy a seasoning? Even I am a storyteller, right? And so, when you're from the country, you grow up around like older people, we have sayings and stuff. It's just a natural thing for me. I didn't realize how much in my freedom, that I would say things that became like catchphrases for people. I would go live, but never watch my lives back, right? So I would just be in the moment. I would read the comments as we going sometime. But one day I had went to the gym, and I was on the elliptical, and I was like reading comments. I said, why do people keep saying that's my business? All in the comments. So I was like, let me watch this live and see what they're talking about. Maybe I missed something. I probably said because that's my business 30, 40 times the whole time while I was cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So people start saying, Tab, can you put that on a T-shirt? I was like, on a T-shirt? Are people really going to buy a T-shirt to say because that's my business? This was my first kind of like wake up to like, oh, wait, these people will really bless me, right? This is like, they support me. And I went downtown L.A., got me some T-shirts, found me a printer, got them printed up, came back. I had a little Etsy store because I used to sell like, clothes and stuff on there. Tab always had a hustle, okay? And so I loaded it on there, on all my T-shirts, and I announced to the people, I was like, hey, I did these T-shirts y'all asked me for, but I only had got like 100 because I was like, I don't know if people really going to buy them. And so I loaded it, and I went to the grocery store real quick.
Gone.
And I came back, and I was like, went to the site, and I couldn't see it. I said, Lord, I must have loaded it wrong.
Gone.
They was gone.
Gone.
And so when you look at your analytics, you can see how many people tried to buy. I missed 3,600 orders because I did not believe people would buy. I only had 100, but I could have made, and that was my first. I was like, oh, I need a T-shirt business. So I started doing my own merch, right? And I did it myself. I had my daughter on payroll. I was like, you don't want to go to school? Okay. You going to run customer service? We're going to do, so I had my own T-shirt brand. And that turned into, as I'm cooking, doing the spice, I was like, I can create my own spice. So I was trying to do it, but it was very hard, and I didn't know anything about it. Because I don't really know anything about food other than cooking it and eating it, right? And at this time. And so McCormick Spice had reached out. Now we, kind of in the pandemic. And they was like, we would love to, work with you on a recipe. So I already, my granny was cooking with McCormick. So I was cooking with their products. And they was like, okay, let's do a live with you cooking. And I was like, okay, I'll make some pasta. Did that. And afterwards, they were like, would you ever want to do your own spice? I was like, I've been trying to develop one, but I don't have the resources.
Pow, ping.
That's
pow.
how that came to be, right?
Pow, pow, pow.
Everything. So then, same time, ever since 2018 when I cut my hair off, she started growing back. So I had like a little short afro.
Is she your hair?
She is. Her name is Donna.
Okay, Donna?
Donna.
Okay, got it.
And so I was cooking live one night, and my hair had grown about this much, but it was sitting straight up at the top. Now it's curly, but not in the top. It was just straight.
God damn it, Donna.
Listen, and I said she didn't have a name at that point.
Okay.
And I was cooking. I said, why is this piece of hair sitting straight up looking like Don King? I'm going to have to call her Donna.
Okay.
And people was like, from that day on, everybody know her as Donna. And I call her Donna. Like, that's when she was born. So I just forever called her Donna. And because of my neck injury, I had a spell where I had to sleep straight, like flat on my back. So my hair had started to thin in the back. So I started trying to find products to help her grow back. And because I was a new vegan, I didn't want to just put anything in my head. So I was like, maybe I can create my own product. Right? So I'm trying to do that. Then my business partner, she was a mom that my husband coaches basketball, coaches kids. Her son was on the program. And so she came. She was like, I have an idea I want to run by you. And so she had an idea for a hair care line. I said, girl, I've been trying to develop a hair care line for the last year. She was like, I got it because you cook. And that's Donna. You can name it Donna's Recipe. And that's how I have my own hair care brand called Donna's Recipe. So everything is me. Like I'm intentional.
Where was I at? I mean,
working. You were working.
God damn it.
You know? But that's literally how Donna's Recipe came to be.
What's so dope about like what you now have, and I love saying like this because, you know, I think people understand like how I think. I'm a big connect guy, right?
Yeah.
If it doesn't connect, it doesn't make sense. And ultimately, I'm trying to complete a circle, right? And what you're doing is basically putting these things that put you in position to complete a circle. And the circle is a circle of life. Try to break this down.
Come on.
In a circle of life, people do the same things in different places all over the world, right? People are going to eat. People are going to sleep. People are going to drive. People are going to travel. People need a home. And people are going to want to take care of themselves. And that can be in health and wellness. That can be in skin, hair, you know, I guess you say longevity-like products. These are the things that ultimately are never going to go away.
Right.
Within that, you also have people want to dress, right? These small things, how I broke it down, all connect the wheel of life. Now, you can start to elevate these different things through luxury, through mid, through low, through affordable, through high price. It all starts to vary. This is how you go and start to play the game. But if you put yourself or your business in the place and space of that wheel and you start to connect the dots properly, you'll find a through line through connectivity through the people that just align with you. So as you're talking about cooking, you're talking about hair, you're talking about product, you're talking about reading, you're talking about feel good, soul, you're talking about energizing people in a way that can complete and complete and complete again. And now, because you have a proof and concept, well, now you just take the concept and now you can go to whatever brand you want and you can say, I want to develop my version, but I want to use your ecosystem.
Yep.
But I want to split it with you. Well, that's how their businesses continue because they don't keep thinking of the fucking great ideas.
Right.
Other people come to them with the great ideas, but you chop it down. I need your infrastructure. You need my mind, my idea. Product is delivered quick, fast, in a hurry, in bulk. My overhead isn't that crazy. We meet, we split, we go. By the way, I want a bigger marketing infrastructure. I'm going to go and partner with a marketing infrastructure. You can keep now going up because the business of Tabitha is the business is real. And the business that's real, it can only progress into so much more. Like, I'm excited to see how many more dots you connect in this space because your discovery is just coming off of you going, yeah, that just did this. They told me, man, hey, who died? That's my hair. Y'all know it's been flat in the back. What you using to get it out? I don't know. I've been using some stuff. I've been using this stuff. It's working.
Yeah.
My hair getting full. Girl, give me the recipe. Hold on now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just pause it.
Yeah.
You pause your lives.
You want Donna's recipe?
Well, wait a minute. That's my next.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Literally everything that I do, that's how it happens.
I love that.
Yeah. Everything I do, it comes from something that really means something for me.
So are you now falling in love with the business of the business?
I love business if the partnerships are right.
Ah, okay.
Right. I'm spiritual, right?
Okay.
I feel, and if it's if it feels right, I'll be all in. If it don't feel right, it ain't no amount of money in the world that's gonna make me stay. I'll be like, oh no, God bless y'all. But I do love it. I love how many people I can touch. I love how many lives I can change, and I also love like waking up with an idea and then actually seeing it come to pass. Yeah, I do. I really enjoy that.
Well, now you said earlier, you mentioned the word team, right?
Yeah.
Which means that you obviously have people that you are working with. I want to get to your daughter in a little bit, but to get a team, you would have had to vet out or make decisions as to who best fits the world of, and who aligns with the vision that you have, and more importantly, the level of care, and who do you trust to say, I'm empowering you to do this for me and help this grow with me. How did you go about, choosing the members of the quote unquote team? Did you get help, or was this a discovery of yours as well?
It was, people don't be believing me, but so when I first started, I had like my old agent, and I was just trying to get into the Atlanta market. So I had signed with this manager in Atlanta. So when I went viral, I hit my agent up at the time. I was like, hey, I done went viral and I need to, figure out like what to do. And they were like, oh, this is just a thing. We're not really into the social media. It'll fizzle out. And I was like, yeah, but Whole Foods is saying that they want to work when they were like, we don't really,
It's nothing.
And so I was like, okay. So, and the manager, she didn't know at all. Because when she told me to charge them $500, I said, girl, we're going to part ways right now. Me and you, it's not going to work out, right? So I had a friend who was a producer, and he and I had been trying to develop like maybe a cooking show or do something, because he used to watch my lives. And he was like, you got something. He was like, I don't know what it is, but we can't stop watching. Me and my wife be watching. He had slid in my DMs too. And we had had a meeting, and we had just, kind of went back and forth about different things. God put him in my spirit. And I called him. I said, hey, listen, I need you to be my manager. And he was like, oh, I'm not a manager. I'm a producer. I said, yeah, but the Lord told me to start giving you 10%. Yeah. So I'm going to just start giving you 10%.
By the way.
And you very smart. And I know you're going to figure it out.
You bullied him. You.
With love and money.
You bullied that man in a religious way. This doesn't happen often. There's only a couple instances
I paid him
that are currently in time where the Lord has put you in a position to bully. You bullied that poor man.
Stephen Love.
Yeah, Stephen Love was strong-armed. The first.
I'm going to just give you this 10% and you're going to start doing the work.
The first religious strong-arm to date that's been talked about on Gold Mines happened here.
It was a spiritual awakening. Okay?
You got to read between the lines, people. You got to listen to what she's saying. Okay.
And so he became my manager,
he took
right?
It. He said, okay.
He did it. And
you
so
got no choice.
For 2 years, from 2018 to 2020, me and Steven did probably over 50 deals together.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
We learned as we went. We didn't know it, both of us. We were like, we know the entertainment world, but we don't know this social media, branding, and all this. And so he ended up as a producer doing a project. He had won an Emmy for it, right? And he ended up getting signed with CAA. CAA was always my dream agency. So I said, hey, Steve, you got to pitch me to them. You got to tell them about me. He was like, man, I'm telling them every day when I have opportunity, I'm telling them. And this was like 2019 when this happened. And so they ain't called me. They was just like, oh, okay, that's great. Like that, it was just that kind of thing. And in 2020, when the pandemic kind of had, took off, I had got on TikTok. My daughter was like, Mom, you need to get on TikTok. And so I was like, girl, I don't really know. It's kids on there. But she was like, no, you could be like TikTok mom. You could do your, food videos. You could do your inspiration, but you just got to be quick because it's 60 seconds. And I was like, all right. So I got on there, and she was right. In the first, week, I went viral. In the first 30 days, I had 1 million followers. The next week, I had 2 million. It just kept growing, right? And all of a sudden, Steven called me. He was like, hey, CAA called me because they seen me on TikTok. I was like, not the CAA who didn't want me last year. Petty, just petty. Knowing I was ready for the call, though. And so he was like, they want to, take a meeting with you. So I was like, okay. So that's how that happened. Like, I took a meeting, but I had prayed that night before. I said, God, I need a real team. Like, I need a team. And I took the meeting with my agent, our leader. And while I'm talking to her, she was like, I normally wouldn't do this. She said, but I feel like you need a whole team, which is for me confirmation, right? She was like, I want to introduce you to this management company. And I was like, okay. So then I did another, this is when everybody was doing Zooms. Took another meeting, and I was like, oh, this feels right. Like, it's management. Now I have, agency. This is a good team. And we all worked together, for maybe the last 2.5 years, right? Because Steven went on to do other things like producing major films and things. And then as opportunities came, I would hire internally, right? Like, I need an assistant, or I need, production. I would hire those people, but it had to, still feel right. Some people I knew, some people I didn't, right? But I would kind of, cross paths with them. And just
what made you realize
energy.
that you needed that, though? Like, at that point, like, the idea of an assistant or the idea of personal help, was it becoming overwhelming for you?
Things were moving so fast.
Got it.
And lack of knowledge, right? I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. And I'm always walk in the room and say, I'm going to be observant. But if I don't know, I'm going to say, I don't know, and I need somebody to speak English to me, okay? And if I can't understand English, that means I really don't have the knowledge. So I need to find somebody who has the knowledge, who can also break it down for me. That's how I think about things like that while learning. But when things started moving very fast, and if I can't keep my eye on everything, that's when I know I need a team. I need somebody in place to keep their eye on that. Because my husband at the time, he thought that he was like, hey, babe, I got you. I can look at, I can make sure. And he said, no, babe, you're going to need some help. Because I can't pay attention.
I love that, though. I love it.
know?
I love the honesty.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think the smartest person in the room is the dumbest person in the room.
Oh, yeah.
Because the dumbest
never
person
wanna
in
be
the
the
room
smartest person.
has no problem with just saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
The assumption that you do know, or to want the assumption that you do know when you don't, is the most ignorant thing ever.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in the hand raise.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, I can tell you, and this is a matter of fact, and there's people that work for me in this room, I am not the smartest person in Heartbeat. Okay. I know that people may think, oh, man, look at Kevin Hart. I'm telling you right now, I've done a great job of surrounding myself with brilliant minds to ultimately make this brilliant thing work. And I've gotten smarter by simply learning from my environment. But I'm a firm believer in supporting the idea of onboarding and opportunity for those that know and can do what you can't.
That's right.
You can't do it all.
No, I cannot.
You can't.
No. But I like that you said that. You are the heartbeat, right? And
Yeah.
then you have somebody else that can be, arm, leg, hands, brain.
I wear
all
jackets that make it look like I do.
Right. And that's what we do.
I got smart clothes.
Yes. They look
Remember that
very
time I
good.
wore that thing? When I had that
With the
thing
crease
on
in
with
it?
the shoes and the jacket with the stuff. It looked like I was the man.
Yeah.
I left that meeting like, what the going on? Somebody got to lay that out for me.
Speak
What did
English
that
to
man
me.
in there say?
Listen, my quote is always speak English
Yeah,
to me,
did we
please."
have the deal or not?
What is really going on?
Yeah, well, Kev, I think they
Yeah.
basically just said yes. Okay, because the way he said it.
It didn't really come out the way that I had thought. So, yeah.
I am very impressed, not just by the conversation, but by you. I mean, A, you should know that. That's why you're here. B, I'm also impressed at your ability to align yourself with those that you love. Your husband, your daughter. You mentioned your husband several times. You mentioned your daughter briefly for a moment. I said I wanted to get to that. I mean, the shows that you've done online, right? You've put yours with you. And, I think it's very clear the amount of love that you have for yours through the videos. And I think the people that have watched these videos to the duration of time, they relate, they understand, they, more importantly, feed off of that. Was that the idea from the take, or was that a discovery as well? Was it, hey, honey, come and be in this with me, and I just want to see what'll happen? Or, hey, sweetie, I know that you helping me with this, but I want you to do this, and we're going to do these things on Mondays, and I think it could be cool. Was the idea, vetted out from the beginning, or was it a chance and let's just see, I want to see what happens. Sit in this with me. How did that come about?
So when I first started doing videos very early on, and people who've been following me for a long time, they know this. My husband did not want to be on nobody video, right? So even when I would cook live in my kitchen, you would hear him, but you never saw him. You would hear him like, man, you got them people looking in our kitchen. I can't even go to the refrigerator, right? He was very much so like, what are you doing? When that first check hit, he was like, you ain't turn your phone on today to do your little videos. But, hey, when the last time you posted? Because, he buried 1 + 1 = 2, right? But he still didn't want to be in, on camera necessarily. My daughter and my son at the time, they were still very young, and my daughter was still in school. I'm cooking, so it's real life. Yeah. You would just see them walking around. My son could barely lift his head over the counter at that time. He would be looking at hey guys, Choice would come on, and back then there was a app that she would read off of, and it would be like a daily inspiration. She would come and get a word of the day, just something that she wanted to do. She was a teenager. And I'm like, girl, come on, get the people a word while I'm getting something out the oven. It was just a natural thing. It was never a plan. It was like, if you're going to see Tab, you're going to see all of me. Yes. So when she graduated high school, she knew she didn't want to go to college. And we knew that she wanted to get into entertainment in some type of way. She was in modeling. And I told her, I said, listen, the way that I can help you is by showing people who you are, right? And then you develop your followers that way. Then it's up to you to show them who you are, right? And so I was like, every Monday, because God had told me to start to bless small businesses. And I was like, well, Lord, how am I going to do that? Because I would always post
I love
and do
this,
stuff.
by the way.
And so I said, you know what? Every Monday, we are going to showcase small businesses. You're going to get on here. You're going to be my co-host. And that way, people, will start to follow you. And then you'll gain your audience, and then you can start getting your own brand deals and things. So that was my thought for her. And that's how Very Good Monday started. So we started doing that, and, every Monday we would get on there and just, bless business.
By the way, it's in that, idea and that breakdown, you can clearly see how your mindset of business has changed, right? What once was in the beginning and how you started in the beginning is the way that you approach things now. So the way that you're giving your daughter the game and how you're going to do it is so dope, because it's after your experience has given you the knowledge. Hey, this is how we're going to break you and set you up.
Yes,
I love
absolutely.
that. I love that. And I love the idea, too, of highlighting the world of small businesses.
Yes,
right?
It's a passion for me still. I still do it now, right? Now, when it comes to my husband, for Fridays with Tab and Chances, which is our podcast, it started off very organically. This was not a plan. So what happened was, for 2 years, people kept saying, how you and Chance get together? What's y'all story? And so I said, you know what, babe, people keep asking, let's do a video and just tell our story, how we got together, right?
Yeah. People ask my wife all the time.
Right.
I just tell them the truth. I was a dime. You saw me. You was like, I got to have him. That's all it was. That's what it was. I didn't do nothing crazy.
Yeah, you just showed up.
I was just there being a
understood.
dime. Okay? When you got the dime-isms, stuff just happened.
Come on.
You know, she can't stand it. By the way,
she
not
right
even close to the truth.
No.
Not even close to the truth.
Right,
But
right.
That's the story that I've held on to for years.
And that's your business.
I was drinking lemonade.
Yeah.
Minding my business.
She walked up on you.
She talking about, can I get a sip? You know what I said? No. Crazy lady. She just kept coming back.
Exactly.
So with that information, did he take to it? And
what happened? We did one of my friends was there, who I call my brother Nick, wrote out the questions for us, and I was like, you ask us the questions and we'll answer the questions, right?
Okay.
And so we did that, and with telling our story as well. And we ended up posting it on a Friday. So people, the video went crazy. They were like, oh my God, it's Fridays with Tab and Chance. And I was like, hey, babe, they think it's a Friday thing. He talking about, I ain't got nothing to do with what they think. We done did the video you wanted to do, and that's it.
You're not going to keep on asking
And I
me
was
to do
like,
stuff.
this is him. I said, but babe, what if we did it every Friday?
See what I'm saying?
And we called it Fridays with Tab
That's why I
and
don't do
Chance,
nothing with
right?
you. This is why I don't do nothing.
That's exactly what
That's
he called you today before I came over because that's exactly what he said.
That's why I don't do nothing with
I said, but we could probably make money. He was like,
now, hold on now.
what you mean
No,
we
when
can
you
make
say
money?
we,
How we gonna make the money?
how we
I was
gonna
like,
split that?
because we're gonna get the ad revenue. We'll throw it up on Facebook because back then, Facebook was paying very good.
I mean, I'm not
Very
mad.
good,
I'm not mad to do it. If you want me to
Listen,
do it.
this was him.
Okay.
So I was like, all right. So then we just started doing Fridays with Tab and Chance, and that's how it started.
I hope you guys are listening.
Yeah.
I hope you're listening. I hope you're holding on to this because it's so authentic. It's so real, and there's such a beautiful smile on her face as she's telling the stories and going down memory lane and how these things blossom, how they manifested into what they are now. Do you know, or have you ever met Regina Hall?
I've met her in passing, but years ago, but I haven't recently.
You would
But I
absolutely
love her.
love Regina Hall. So, Regina Hall, for years, that's my sister. Regina Hall is probably top 2, arguably could be 1. People in my life, especially in this business, like Nana Jean is what I call her because she's just so old acting.
Yeah.
But for years, Regina would always tell me how she sees things, and Kevin, I foresee stuff, and baby Kevin, I want to tell you this is what I saw for you, and this is what she would do it for years, and I used to fight Regina off. Regina, stay your crazy ass over there. Don't come over here with that mess.
Yeah.
We on set, Regina. Don't start with me. Baby,
Yeah.
I just want to tell you something. This morning I had a good vision of you. Your mother says hi. She would always say these things. And
That's
she
my life.
beat me down. She beat me down to the point to where I had to start listening to her.
Yeah.
And she not in a weird way was she really explained to me what it was and what she would do. And it was after my mom passed away. I'm telling you the story for a reason. My mom had passed away, and she was crying. She was so emotional. She was so sad for me. And she, left me alone for a week. And, after, she was like, Kevin, she was like, I had a dream. She said, and I just got to tell you, your mom is okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, Regina, don't start with me. Don't try to, get a reaction out of me. Not today. No, baby, she's fine. She's happy. And, you just should know that. Mm-hmm. I saw that. And then my baby was born. Before my daughter was born, Regina, she was like, you having a girl.
Regina,
Nico,
we might be twins.
I'm telling you, listen, I'm telling you how she beat me down. You having a little girl. You having a little girl. And I think you're going to have another baby, too, with Nico. You're going to do boy-girl with Nico. Me and Nico ended up having a girl-boy, had 2. Okay. Regina, hey, that youngest one, he's going to be the one. That little boy, he's going to be, watch. Mm-hmm. Comes out with this personality like crazy. I saw that. I saw him being exactly I mean, everything this woman has said, I wish I could debate it. I wish I could say I fought her off with it. Has all come true.
Yeah.
Opportunities, career. This woman has seen my life unfold and whatever dreams she done had. And in the way that you talk, she's a person that you should meet. And if I can help in you meeting her, when I say there's so many similarities that you'll be mind blown. Yeah. Between you and Regina, just the way you talk about the spirit, the way you talk about God, the way you talk about your life, how you've changed, your commitment. She's somebody that you would find an amazing.
I would love that.
I'm going to spearhead that introduction just because I think it's something that'll be good for you. Yeah. And especially with her in the business and where she is and what she's done. She's another entrepreneur, but there's so many.
But I love that you accepted it finally.
Well, she beat me down.
Listen,
and you can't.
She's strong
when you say, the same thing you did to that poor man. Same thing you did to that poor manager that wasn't trying to be a manager, that you made a manager. That poor man that now is happy.
But you know what's crazy about that? With Steven, we didn't know each other, really, really know each other. Mm-hmm. We were getting to know each other. So I didn't know what was happening in his life. God just told me, start giving him 10%, right? He told me later that he was driving Lyft and he didn't tell nobody. And the money I was giving him was paying his bills, getting him and his wife caught up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got to be obedient.
No. That's the craziness. And that's also what I mean about the information. Like, you can only fight it off of so much, but when it's actually happening, it gets a little, like, you can't ignore it.
Yeah, you can't.
With Regina, I could not ignore it. And I'll tell you what else I can't ignore. I can't ignore just your amazing personality, your take on life, and your transparency, right? Like, that's a gift in itself. And, you know, those that have that gift and that share it, people gravitate towards it. So it's no shock that you are where you are. It's no shock that your fan base has grown into what it is today. It's no shock that you keep finding new ventures to give your all to, because the personality that you have is one that's addicted to the feeling of feeling good. And as you find things that make you feel better, well, you just keep doing more. Yeah. And that's what I think you have fallen in love with, the feeling of feel good. And these things are doing just that. And I hope that it continues. Like, I hope that you complete this circle, and whether you realize it or not, I hope that what I said to you resonated enough for you to kind of look at it as a circle of connection, because I swear to you, it's going in that direction. And entrepreneurs are great for a reason, because you just continue to do the things that other people don't get done.
I appreciate that, and I receive it.
I mean it.
Yeah, I'm going to keep on going.
Ladies and gentlemen, what an episode. What an episode. This is Gold Minds. And you know what we do here. We get inside the minds of amazing individuals. And today was no different. Why? Well, because gems were dropped, notes were given, honesty was used. More importantly, it was for you. Don't not take advantage of what's free. And this information is just that. Guys, there's a new book coming out from Tabitha Brown. The new book is called I Did a New Thing. Shocker. Shocker that she did a new thing. It should be obviously.
Going to keep doing it.
Because she's going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Tabitha, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
what an amazing conversation. I'm serious. And I got a little bit, I feel like you fed my soul today.
Well, I am so grateful for that.
I feel like you did. You said some things that I need to sit my little ass down and hold on to and reevaluate.
We are always worthy of that.
Well, I'm just telling you. I do not take for granted some of the stuff you said, and it was said to me today for a reason. So I'm going to go sit down in my office and go look in the mirror and have a conversation with myself. It's nobody's business what I got to say to myself.
Listen, ain't nobody's business but yours.
Ain't nobody's business but mine.
That's right. Shall I give my signature ending for you?
Yes, please.
For your folks? And
yes.
Things? Okay, well, very good. But thank you. I appreciate you for having me. I appreciate that. And until the next time, honey, y'all go about y'all business and have the most amazing day. But even if you can't have a good one, don't you dare go messing up nobody else's here. Love y'all. God bless you.
Boy, if the world listened to that, we would... Man,
it'd be such a better place.
If the world talking about saying what everybody should just understand.
Just because your day toe up, you ain't got to tell nobody else.
You would say it differently. I would definitely use a lot of profanity in mine. Mind your see, this is my problem, Kevin. That ain't my message, Kevin. No, I get what you're saying, Tabitha. Mind your everybody. This is y'all and everybody else's. No, Kevin, that's not. Kevin,
it didn't really go that way.
Yeah, there's a much more cleaner take on it, Kevin.
The Lord is still working on it.
Yeah, he's working on me. Just be patient. Be patient
and
with
that's
me.
Your business.
I'm going to mind my business, and I hope everybody follows suit. Tabitha Brown. This is Gold Minds. I'll see you next time.